Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my top 10 professional sports fights. This is a list that I just threw together, and I encourage anybody to let me know of more fights I need to watch, because sports fights, in my opinion, when they're not supposed to happen, are like the most entertaining and funniest things ever. Also, I would like to just address this question because I know it's going to be asked. Am I getting Madden 26 because the trailer came out yesterday? No. So, couple of quick plugs before we hop into it. Don't forget to use code Wyatt's World on G Fuel, Waggle, or Prize Picks. By using my codes on G Fuel or Waggle, you can save a discount on any of their products, and by using it at sign up on Prize Picks, you're going to guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. But remember, always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. So, starting off this list, we got the classic Andre Johnson versus Cortland Finnegan fight from like 14 years ago. If you haven't seen this, I definitely encourage you to watch it. I encourage you to watch all these fights. But this was just a classic clash between the Titans and the Texans. Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan had been jaw-jacking at each other kind of the whole game. They were getting pushy, and it eventually got to the point where as soon as the whistle blew, they just threw down and started fighting. Andre Johnson rips off Finnegan's helmet. Finnegan throws a punch at Andre Johnson, then rips off Andre Johnson's helmet. Then Andre Johnson proceeds to get up and throw two of the biggest bombs I've ever seen in NFL fighting at the back of Cortland Finnegan's head. I mean, it was just outrageous. I will give Cortland Finnegan credit, though. He got right up after it and didn't knock him out, and I think that punch would have probably knocked out 60 to 70% of human beings. Now, before we move on to number 2, I forgot I have an honorable mention for this video, and it's none other than the Malice at the Palace. And the reason it's an honorable mention instead of being number 1 is because I just talked about it, and I don't need to talk about it again, but I think we all know who have seen it. That's the craziest fight ever. Now, moving on to number 9 on the list, we have AJ Green versus Jaylen Ramsay. Now, I don't think this fight was as severe as the Andre Johnson one, because, I mean, that was literally no helmet punching, but this was just more ridiculous. So this was Jacksonville Ramsay, by the way, real arrogant. Him and AJ Green were playing against each other, and again, they were fighting all game, just yelling at each other, jaw-jacking. Then, just after a routine handoff to Joe Mixon, Jaylen Ramsay pushed AJ Green to the ground well outside of the play. So then AJ Green gets up, puts Jaylen Ramsay in like a legitimate sleeper hold, throws him to the ground, throws a couple punches at him with his helmet on, then proceeds to grab him back in the chokehold and doesn't let go until like 6 guys pull him off. You can see in the dog pile trying to break it up that AJ Green is still on the ground like this. Like, it's just ridiculous. But that's exactly what Jaylen Ramsay used to do, man. He used to make people so mad. Okay, next fight on the list, so number 8. I don't know if you can really call it a fight. It's more of literally an assault, but I'm putting it on here because it is potentially one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in professional sports, period. And that's the time Meta World Peace Ron Artest full-blown elbows James Harden in the side of the head as hard as he possibly can. Now, if you go watch this and you watch James Harden, please understand this is not a flop. This is not him faking a head injury on the ground. This is a guy that I'm fairly certain was knocked unconscious for a split second, and it was unprovoked. Matter of fact, it was Ron Artest who drove the court, had a really nice dunk, and then as he was celebrating, he reaches around James Harden. It could not have been any more intentional. Winds up as hard as he can and gives him the beans right in the side of the head. Dude, Harden was on the ground for a couple minutes. Like, it was legitimately an assault. Moving on to number 7, we have the time Jose Ramirez knocked out Tim Anderson. I don't know if you can call knockout really the word, but knocked him down with a pretty good punch to the face. This was satisfying because Tim Anderson was one of the biggest douchebags in the sport of baseball. Now, granted, he was elite for a period of time. Couldn't field to save his life, but he was a really good hitter. And anyway, there was a game between the White Sox and the Guardians. Jose Ramirez slid into second, which, by the way, Jose Ramirez is one of like the nicest guys in the sport. After he slid in, Tim Anderson stood over him for a little bit. Jose didn't like it, so he got up and told him not to do it again. So then Tim Anderson shoves him. The ref tries to break it up. Tim Anderson takes off his gloves, throws up the dukes. Jose Ramirez and him throw a couple punches, missing, and then Jose connects with a haymaker right to the side of Tim Anderson's head, knocking him down. Like I said, even though a lot of people were celebrating this, and maybe including me, it's a little bit sad to see how that kind of just ruined Tim Anderson. He's been garbage ever since. Next fight we have is from 2008, I think it was, and it's Coco Crisp versus James Shields. So James Shields was a pitcher for the Rays, and Coco Crisp at the time played for the Boston Red Sox. James Shields beans Coco Crisp. Coco immediately flips off the helmet, charges the mound, and those two start fighting. And I mean, they're connecting on punches, but they're holding their own. And this is the part that's nuts to me. While they're fighting, the catcher comes in and tackles Coco Crisp. And then number 31 for the Tampa Bay Rays, which I think is Johnny Gomez, gets on top of Coco Crisp, and I mean, starts UFC hammer thrusting him as hard as he possibly can. Then the bench is absolutely clear, and I'm pretty sure multiple people were ejected for it. Well, at least hopefully, but that was another one that was, I mean, damn near an assault. You gotta let the guys fight. You can't just go in there and start pummeling someone that another teammate of yours took down. Moving on to the next fight, we have the infamous Izzy Alcantara kick to the catcher. You know, this is kind of an assault too. It's an ongoing pattern here. But anyway, I did not watch this clip live. I don't even know when it was. This is a long time ago. It's in a AAA baseball game. But Izzy Alcantara, he was the batter. He thought the pitcher threw at him like twice in a row, which I'm not even sure the pitcher actually ever did. But anyway, after one of the pitches, he looks back at the catcher, super kicks him in the face, charges the mound, and starts swinging at anybody who's willing to stand still. For the longest time, every time I saw that clip pop up, I thought it was fake, dude. I thought it was a skit. There is no way an athlete would ever actually do that. But lo and behold, it's 100% real. Coming in at number 4, you guys had to have known this was going to be on here. It is Mason Rudolph versus Myles Garrett. Talk about outrageous. This was a few seasons ago on Thursday Night Football. Steelers were playing the Browns. Mason Rudolph took a snap and completed a pass as Myles Garrett was pursuing him. Now, Myles was kind of wrapping around Mason as he completed the pass, so I mean, to that degree, it was nothing but an ordinary football play. But then Myles hung on to Mason after the ball was released. Mason was just trying to keep himself afloat, eventually taking Mason down. This ignited a brawl that was pretty much if you blink, you missed it, but Myles Garrett would rip off Mason Rudolph's helmet and proceed to bash him on the skull with it. I mean, in a matter of 5 seconds, there was 4 Steelers pummeling Myles Garrett for that. And honestly, as much as I respect Myles Garrett, I think he is absolutely full of shit. Oh, he said a racist term, whether the NFL wants to acknowledge it or not. No, he didn't. You're lying. Coming in at number 3, we have that time Amir Garrett decided to fight the entire Pirates roster. I mean, this is still an all-time great. Amir Garrett used to be a pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. I don't think he's in the league anymore, to be honest. Maybe he is. But in a division game versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, tempers began to flare. Then during a mound visit, someone from the Pirates dugout said something that pissed him off, so what did he do? He charged at the entire team and just started throwing bombs. Now, I'm not sure who the poor soul was that took the initial punch, but the first guy he hits, he knocks him into next fucking week. Hat goes flying, guy falls on the ground, and then right after that, as all the Pirates swarm him, he just starts flailing his fists around. Then he gets tackled to the ground, the bench is clear, and everything gets broken up. But do you know how much balls you have to do that? Not a singular shit was given by Amir Garrett that day. Now moving on to number 2, I think what we have here is the most iconic fight in sports history. And that's when Ventura decided to charge at a 46-year-old Nolan Ryan after getting beaten by a pitch. My favorite thing about this is what the announcer said at the end, and they just said, if there is one pitcher in the league that you're gonna run at, Nolan Ryan is not the one to do it to. This 26-year-old thought he was gonna get himself a piece of Nolan Ryan. He took off his helmet, he charged him. In a matter of seconds, Nolan Ryan threw him in a headlock and tagged him with about 5 or 6 Looney Tune fucking Tom and Jerry punches to the head. You gotta understand, Nolan Ryan wasn't a small guy. He was 6'2", but he was still old as shit, and he was Bob Barkering this guy. Nolan Ryan not only is, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, but he will always be an icon because of that moment. And number 1 is actually a hockey fight. I know some people are like, how is he not gonna have one on here? Trust me, I gotcha. But it's not out of the NHL, it's out of the KHL, the Continental Hockey League. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's full name. I know it's Damir, D-A-M-I-R, and then Ryspayev, R-S-Y-P-A-Y-E-V. Just go look him up and type in fight. This guy got a lifetime ban that's now lifted, but he was banned for life at one point because he got into a fight with another team and ended up just knocking out about 5 of their guys and then fighting their entire bench. Dude, this is one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. Look, I don't know what started the fight, but a fight breaks out with this guy just knocking out one of his opponents with one hit. Then he skates over, grabs another guy, knocks him down, skates over to another opponent, grabs him, knocks him out like a sack of bricks, skates over to another opponent. By the way, this guy was trying to get away from him for his life. Grabs a hold of him, knocks him out, then proceeds to skate over to the bench, grab people, and start throwing hands until eventually both benches clear. Look, I don't know who this guy is, but that had to have been the craziest sports fight I have ever seen. And this guy is also probably the biggest hard ass on the planet. And that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for 10 of the greatest sports fights ever. Again, let me know some fights I should catch up on if I haven't seen them already. Hope you guys had fun and enjoyed this video. I recommend you check out every single one of these if you haven't seen them, or just rewatch them for old time's sake. But in the meantime, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next upload.